Weird science
is the revolution.
J. Garrick, The Flash, #3, written by Jeremy Adams, with art by Diego Ortueliglia, colors by Luis Guerrero. You heard me. And Steve Wands on letters. And I'm wondering how you think of this book, because I really like it. I'm going it more. If you go with this idea of continuity, I think that maybe it might drive you nuts. Even the play of how somebody's missing in time, but then somebody's hanging out for 80. What I like about this is the family aspect. I love the family aspect of the book. This is pretty much the family aspect that was great in his regular Flash run Jeremy Adams had with Wally and his family. And I really love the play. And I'm telling you, to a T, I've had nobody say anything but great things about Boom. The Boom being Judy Garrick. And so this is just a shout out to everybody. Right on. I'm going to get on my soapbox again. I got to get that step ladder.
Apple crate.
Yeah. So the whole play, new characters do work. You can't force them, and you have to have an angle.
They just have to be a Flash.
And, well, you have to, that's the thing that people don't like all the Flashes either.
I know.
They're all arguing about the things and whatever. But again, it works because it's been, we followed a journey. If you have read Lost Children and then Go, JSA, and then this, you have followed this thing with Judy, and it works, and it's fun. And I said before, it feels like a JSA Stargirl type book. It has that feel more than the others, but it has the benefit. And you mentioned this before, that it's in the present time as well. Exactly. That's a big benefit.
It's the best of both worlds.
Yeah, it makes it feel like it means something in the present, but you also get some really cool flashbacks, which we start out with, going a bit with this Dr. I wanted to say, is it Dr. Elemental?
Dr. Elemental.
Why do I want to say? I kept wanting to say Dr. Alchemy. Dr. Elemental. Then I was going to say the Element Man. Well, the Element Man. But yeah, Dr. Elemental. And I like that you're pushing him as a pretty good villain here. It's not somebody who's a pushover.
You're pushing him in this weird way, because when he first saw me, it almost seemed like a weird standoff kind of. It's a villain who definitely knew more than he should, because he kidnapped Joan Garrick and was going to kill her if Jay Garrick didn't show up, and you had Jay and the Boom, her daughter Judy, show up, and that's when Judy was taken from time. But it also seemed like a weird thing when Judy was taken from time. They also forgot about Dr. Elemental, but Dr. Elemental, in the background of this whole thing, he seemed to recognize what was happening, and for some reason has decided to lay low for the next 70 years to bide his time until Judy returns. That's the worst part about the book in my mind, because I don't understand why that would happen. But you have this character that now, even though he seems bigger than he did in the first issue, because he looks like he's a part of the ISA. He's doing super soldier clones for the freaking Nazis during World War II, and the entire Justice Society of America has to go up against him and struggle to take his ass down. So yes, you have turned in these issues, like what do we have, in these 2 issues, there's Dr. Elemental, who I thought was just kind of a schlub who's just, kind of a nobody who just kind of, almost to a degree of a Dr. Light who just kind of got the jump on Sue Dibney. Like, it's a terrible thing to bring up because of what he did, but
yeah, really.
It's a schlub who got the drop on her and, became a threat because he was there. Now he is this big bad thing that can take on the entire JSA, and he's somebody you should have to worry about. And it's so weird because he has been biding his time for the last 70 years, and only now that Jay realizes that, Dr. Elemental was a thing, now that Judy's here, because for the past 70 he forgot about this big bad who hasn't been doing shit. And by the end of this issue, it's also a doctor that he worked with that led to him getting access to the Speed Force. So it's a crazy roundup about shit. I'm like, holy crap, you were doing a lot.
And next issue, it says we're going to see that origin where he was the one who got him, the Speed Force powers and whatever.
Martin Steined his ass.
Yeah, really. And so they even mentioned Martin in this, too. So when you end up having all this going
I'm mad that they mentioned Martin in this, because even when you have Fairplay and Quiz Kid that are working with Mr. Terrific, which I love, the idea that, Mr. Terrific's, long-lost son, who was taken by Granny Goodness, that Jeremy Adams set up previously, that is now there, and working with the original Mr. Terrific sidekick, Quiz Kid, who was taken from Orphan Island by, Stargirl and stuff like that, for the lost children, in case anybody needs to be caught up in something. They're working with Mr. Terrific at Terrific Tech, which is great, but I do not need these little smarty pants assholes fucking with the Firestorm Matrix, because they're just doing this before breakfast. They're reverse engineering the Firestorm Matrix. I'm like, get the hell out of here. Don't you dare do that.
I love the idea that they're just doing it. It's such a joke.
Stop
and you're like,
it.
You fucking kids.
This is the ultimate weapon. How dare you?
Exactly. When you have Dr. Elemental and he's doing all this and he knows all the weaknesses of the JSA, he's like taking them down. You have Alan Scott coming. You're like, I think that you might not be good
using
with wood.
all
Boom.
the powers of the elements.
He's like, I'm going to get you. Bam. And so you sit there and you're going to go with that, oh man, he's done his research, he's a good villain, whatnot. But when you get to the end where Jay Garrick realizes, oh shit, this is the guy who was involved where I became, then it makes even more sense. But here's the play. Mr. Terrific is the one who starts explaining now one, in
Fine with
Speed
it.
Force, the guy does have no idea how to work a phone. Now so when he's talking about the idea, maybe it's not quite, it's a weird play because I don't know that
Time
maybe
is fixing itself, Jim.
the whole play of Dr. Elemental, I think he should have went with the idea that he ends up not knowing that he was this big bad, and then when Judy comes back, just like Jay and
You
all
want to
them,
magenta
and
him?
remember, yeah, I want him to be like, oh shit,
Now, when I say magenta, in case anybody doesn't understand that reference, because we bring it up every now and again, but it goes back to, after Titans Hunt in the beginning of Rebirth, when Wally West first came back from the Speed Force, he was absent all throughout the New 52, he remembered what happened before, but people forgot about him, and when he would touch him, there'd be a little spark that he gave off that allowed people to remember him and the past that they shared with him. When he went up to his ex-girlfriend Magenta, who turned into a bad guy, this entire time since the time frame had been rewritten with the New 52, she had been a normal person who lived a normal life, and then she was burdened with her past when Wally touched her. Now, if you go that route where time is fixing itself, but, based on the catalyst of people with Judy and around Judy, that would make sense. The Dr. Elemental just went back to big, maybe who he thought he was, just a regular doctor man, and now that the time is fixing itself, he remembers what he was capable of and wants to go back to this.
it's so weird because that seems like that's like the easy way to do this. The idea
instead of
like,
laying low for 70 years.
But they seem and showing that Dr. Elemental kind of was taking care of the JSA. Like, he's already big and bad enough. I don't know that you need to spell out that he was planning for 80 years. I think that it should have been that play of, and maybe we'll find that out. I don't know.
Of what he might be planning, because when we have the JSA take him on, and Judy Garrick, it's just a fun little character that she is, she likes to go, during the 50s and stuff like that, she likes to go back in time when she was, still Jay Garrick's sidekick before she was taken. She goes back in time to check in on her younger father's self to see the adventures he went on and make sure he's okay. So she jumps in and almost pretty much is saving the day against Dr. Elemental to the point where she is working with her younger father before she's even born to go and take him down from this escape shuttle that he's had. And he's able to get a sample of her DNA, her blood. And I'm like, how is that a part of what is going on with the laying low for abiding his time for 7 years? Or maybe it's to somehow run, DNA sequencing before there's DNA sequencing to find out you are a Garrick. And even though nobody has a goddamn mask on in the freaking Flash family of the Golden Age.
And again, if this Dr. Elemental was the one that was the result of making Jay Garrick, I think he knows him. And then you end up having...
I would say so, yeah.
You have Judy come, and the play here, too, is that, oh, there he is, he's dealing with Nazis. Hey, we're going to make a super soldier. That's where you get oh, shit, they have her DNA. And when he does this, he says, this is going to be great. You're a speedster. Out of time, boom, grab it. And you have that. But the real play that I like is that Judy at this moment in the actual present is really mad at her dad, Jay, for coming and checking in on her at the mall when she was always checking in on him. And I don't know. To me,
tit for tat, quid pro quo, baby girl.
You could go both ways with the idea of which is worse or whatever, but Judy herself going back and fighting Nazi Dr. Elemental things, that's really dangerous, but Jay's worried, and it also on the layers of it.
Old man Jay's taking on a robotic bear at the mall, so that's pretty bad too.
It's not as bad as the Nazis. And again, they don't really realize, I think, that, you have Dr. Elemental that grabbed this blood and what that might mean, but...
And is it for the Nazis per se? I just want to say it's for the ISA to have world conquest in general.
I mean, it's just that in general, but it's bad stuff. He was already working on crazy DNA splicing, cloning, and then he gets the blood.
Now, do you think the play is going to be that, while we can make super soldier clones back in the day for whatever nefarious plans we have, what I needed to do with Judy Garrick's blood took 70 years to synthesize the Speed Force in order to make something comparable?
I think you're going to have to play that. He's going to play the idea of, I have to wait until shit's caught up with me to get what I need to do. Yeah, I don't think he's even that blood is just on the shelf.
But
and then
he's already making people in this whole thing. It seems like before we're in the 40s, but in my mind, it would have to be something even more special, like the Speed Force.
It would be, and I think that's why he wants to get it. And he thinks, it's part of the blood. He's going to try to synthesize some things. But I think also, he's got to, probably has more funds here than what he ends up having when shit goes wrong and he's just hiding out. I have a feeling that they're going to show that he's kind of down and out for a while and has to kind of get back.
I imagine he's living high in Argentina.
Yeah, I don't think, with all the rest of it. I actually think, again, I would have loved to have seen that he's just like a drifter at one point. He doesn't even remember what he was. And then he starts to remember. And then that would be the craziest idea of a villain finding out I was Dr. Elemental and I've been riding the rails, eating hobo chili all this time?
Well,
you bitch!
You even had that play a little bit to a degree in the New 52 with Eobard Thaw in Reverse Flash, because even when we had Superman from the New 52 and the pre-crisis or the post-crisis pre-Flashpoint Superman who was there, when their energies came together, it was that blue and red energy that you always associate with blue and red electric Superman and stuff like that. They came together to make the Superman Reborn, the combined continuity that we have now and stuff like that. We had the same thing going on in the Flash books as well with Eobard Thawne, because we had a New 52 version of Reverse Flash that had been wandering for centuries using the Speed Force to keep his age down and stuff like that. But when he was captured, he was then given the energy, the energy found him from this pre-Flashpoint version to make him Eobard Thawne, who remembered everything, to make him the Reverse Flash proper again. So it's one of those things as well as like a Magenta that we bring up, where if you did have the idea that they did, because of time shifting, the multiverse reimagining itself, doing different things, that you need to be able to have this thing where I remember who I am now. I am Dr. Elemental, the biggest, baddest motherfucker around.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't say that. There's little kids around.
Must be Eric Shea Reborn.
Must be Eric Shea Reborn. But yeah, when you
just
go back and
kid and fair play.
Well, and Jay, they're trying to figure some things out, and they end up going to Terrific Tech, and you have Quiz Kid and Fair Play, which is great. And you have them kind of hanging out, and I love where Quiz Kid's like, oh my God.
Quiz Kid is one thing, but Fair Play showing up, I thought he was going to be a forgotten character from one year. That whole thing that, Jeremy Adams did with, this is a Jeremy Adams book, so it makes sense. But I just didn't feel like anybody else is going to use, the unborn son that was taken from the womb of Mr. Terrific, who has been aged up a bit.
And they spell it out if you didn't do that.
But I like seeing him here because I never imagined seeing him again, really.
I love the F of the mask there, right? Because here's the thing. You already have Quiz Kid with a Fair Play fair deal. You have the jacket. You can't keep going. So you need something different. So you got that F, and he has a big
Fair Play.
Yeah, F, and then on the back, U, as you see him drive by and go by there.
U crew.
Yeah, it is. So you end up where, and he even talks about, his whole play, Granny Goodness took me. I was part of this gang, the Furious. And it's kind of a cool way to catch up people who might not have done it.
Donna's kid and God's kid, where are they at right now?
Yeah, so they end up where Fair Play has made a thing that everybody always wanted because it could make the greatest porn ever. Eric, you have a thing that can take a picture, a snapshot of your memories and your dreams and things like that. I thought there was going to be a little bit of a joke here where you see she actually likes, say, Quiz Kid or something that'd be on the side. But it is to get the picture of Dr. Elemental, and they're able to do it.
Professor Hughes.
That's when Jay realizes, wait, it can't be. That's Professor Hughes, the man responsible for me becoming the Flash. And you see him there because she had seen him a bunch of times without his mask on.
I don't remember if there's been any revisions to the continuity. This is great. It's Professor Hughes. He was the one that allowed me to inhale the hard water vapors that made me a speedster. Is it still going to be hard water vapors?
That's so crazy. It's such a crazy deal. Now, what I think is kind of cool is you do mention Professor Stein. You mentioned, so you kind of get that kind of play that what is this going to be? And let's see how it goes. Yeah, and you get the whole, experiments and things. So the hard water vapors, we'll see how it goes. But it says next, the origin of Jay Garrick, Judy Garrick, and Dr. Elemental, they're all tied in together. And I like that as well. So I like this pretty much. Again, you're going to get a little wonky. The only thing is me hoping that we explain this 80 years better than he was just sitting around I rue the day.
Because right now it's the weakest part.
All I imagine is it's he's doing push-ups yelling, die, Bart, die. That's it for 80 years, yelling about Judy. So I hope it is that he forgot some things and now he's
grudge.
He's back. Yeah, it's the Bart, the. Hey, that's in German. Nobody's bad ever comes from Germany. But what would you give?
I had a lot of fun with this issue, way more than the previous issue with Robert, who somehow, for some reason, I had just a big problem with for how goofy it was. But I'm telling you, Mr. Terrific, Fair Play, Quiz Kid, all this stuff is fun. And talking about the timelines and how time fixes stuff, even the stuff we just talked about, because it's racing through my mind as I read it, having fun with the concepts being thrown at us, with the stuff from the past, the present, and all the time that's been taken out from that orphan. Had a lot of fun. Just an 8 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I'm an 8 out of 10 as well. I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was really cool when you get Quiz Kid and Fair Play, and then it does give you that little zing that we have. We love the Lost Children. Even if the book got wonky at points, we love the kids, and having them here, like you said, gives you hope of seeing more, because I didn't think we would see Fair Play. I'm with you. I never thought. And to have them there with Quiz Kid is so cool. that they're having fun. A lot of times what you would have in this.
Just little asshole geniuses who just want to show that they're better than me
so
all
great.
the time.
And I love that. And at one point, I wanted Mr. Terrific to almost say they're a bit annoying. Like, you know what I mean? Not annoying in a way that he's mean, but it's like they're trying to outdo me, and it's getting like, I'm Mr. Terrific,
they're going through terrific tech stuff and trying to improve it by like 3 seconds of stuff. He's like, yeah, we'll get to that. Don't worry. And I'm like, that is fun to the point where they're such smarty pants they will get on Michael Holt's nerves. But I'm telling you, it's such a palate cleanser, though, that I enjoyed this book because what we read, how Mr. Terrific was portrayed in Speed Force, like, I don't want to see that Mr. Terrific ever again. This is how Mr. Terrific should be.
And Mr. Terrific and say, the Strange Event, he's, a lot of times they get him wrong. And so when you get to this, and that's what I want to say as well, a lot of times you'll get writers, and I might go to 8.5 there. A lot of writers, I say that sometimes people come in, and we'll probably say it this episode, where they come in to look for the misery. You know what I mean? Like, okay, what tragedy and what tragic things can I get out of this character?
How can I fuck this up before I make it better?
Exactly. And where I get the play is I think there could have been somebody who came into this, and I'm just saying with the kids, and thought, ooh, what would Quiz Kid do now that Mr. Terrific has a son?
How can we Doctor light this shit up?
Exactly. Wouldn't Quiz Kid get angry that he's going to be lost again? Because, no, they're best friends. And I'm like, that's it. Jeremy Adams does it. This is the stuff that when people yell about what they want and don't want whatever, this is all I want. I just want a book where the characters are being heroic and fun.
Like, Mr. Terrific's not used to being a father, a child that he never knew that he had situation because of how, he's a bit coldish to it. I mean, not the way we saw him, he's just scientific is what I'm trying to say, but he's trying to be there for his son, but his son is also smart enough to understand the situation where he's trying to, bring himself into this whole thing and occupy his time to be as well adjusted as he can. So they're both these two very scientific people that are trying to understand one another in this new world, in this new life. And they're played off well because they are so smart and know exactly how to play the situation,
so smart.
even though they might be hurting inside. They're not willing to show it, at least yet.
And he even like alludes to he might be a bit on the spectrum, which is fine. Like, he is a smart. But what I really like about it is, and you kind of go, there's two things. First off, Mr. Terrific, he's out there hobnobbing. He's a wild and crazy guy. He kind of has 2 kids now because Quiz Kid is sidekick. So,
Bruce.
you know what I mean? So he's got that.
It's a terrific family.
The second part of this, what Jeremy Adams does really good, and maybe give a lesson to Tom Taylor, because Tom Taylor can have anything wrong happen. When Jay says to Mr. Terrific, Michael, I'm so happy for you. But Mr. Terrific doesn't say, oh, it's a dream come true. Oh, my God, this is what I want. He says, thank you, but it hasn't been without its own struggles. That's true with anybody. That's true with any person who all of a sudden you have a kid. There are tough times and it's hard to adjust. I like that he just mentions that. That makes it real. Mr. Terrific is going to have problems because he is like you said, he's more of a thinker, not a fatherer. Your dad's problem was, right? He's a thinker. Oh, he was a drinker. I forgot.
Yes, he was a drinker, Jim. Can you imagine them coming together as the Firestorm Matrix, combining together to become the ultimate?
That would be cool. Called Brainwave or something like that, right? Brainwave. Could be awesome.
I'll just call it Fury again.
Oh, I need more of them right now. I really do. They're so cool. I think one of them's going to die. That's just me.
Oh, my gosh.
You know me. Oh, my goodness gracious. But, yeah, I'm going to go up to an 8.5. Hey, all you weirdos, if you like comic book shows, podcasts, videos, please check the description of this video where you can see links to all of our podcast shows, websites, all of that. And if you want to help us out for everything that we do, you can click on that Patreon link in the upper left-hand corner and check out our Patreon, where you can go right now and get a 7-day free trial to see all the stuff that we do, shows that are Marvel, DC, indie, manga, and even more. So check all that out, and I'll talk to you all later.
Weird science
is the revolution.